Hi there, this is Millie Roberts. Thank you for joining me. Today I just want to talk about the pelvis, and particularly after childbirth you often find that women have an anterior pelvic tilt. Anterior means towards the front. So if I show you what that looks like from sideways on, I'm going to just slightly try and exaggerate it a little bit so that you kind of get the idea of what I'm talking about. So in terms of where the pelvis should be in a neutral position is about here. So we've got this slight lumbar curve at the bottom of the back here, okay, and everything else is in line. I can feel that it's in line because my bum's working a little bit, just to keep that in line there, and so is my core. My core's working too. My shoulders are in the right position because they're sort of up, back and down, not too much, but they are in line with the rest of my body. Okay, so the anterior pelvic tilt when you've had childbirth, obviously when you're pregnant, the baby has grown out this way. So in order for the body to remain balanced, the centre of gravity then changes. So as the baby grows out here, the bum sort of generally tends to come out the back a little bit like that. And so in terms of if the pelvis was a bucket of water, and so in line it's here, as that starts to come back, it tilts forward like that. So if it was full of water, the bucket, the water would fall out this way here. So that's what we mean by an anterior pelvic tilt. And often after childbirth, it can take a little bit of time and a bit of training just to try and get that back underneath again. Symptoms that you can feel from an anterior tilted pelvis like that, specifically lower back pain in this lumbar area here, because here you've squished the vertebrae together there, and you've also squished the two muscles either side of the spine, which are really important in that lower back stability. Those two muscles either side of the spine there, they're quite thin and they fatigue really quite easily. So first of all, we get that pain in the lower back. Second of all, because I've now sort of made the gap between my pelvis and my rib cage quite long, that's switched off all the core muscles there. Because I've lengthened it, they can't work optimally. Okay, so we've got to switch those back on again to get the pelvis to come back underneath. So weak core. Another thing that happens here is a weak pelvic floor. The core and the pelvic floor are completely intricately linked. So if you strengthen one up, you strengthen the other one up at the same time. So again, particularly after childbirth, the chances are you're going to have a weak pelvic floor as well. So we need to try and train the core and the pelvic floor together to put the pelvis back underneath the body. Other symptoms include sciatica, again where that's come out of line there, it pinches on the sciatic nerve that runs down the leg, and you can get pain referring down there. But also this posture here can then put the upper back out, so kind of in order to balance, so the pelvis has gone back, the shoulders come forward, and we get this creeping forwards in the shoulders. Again, really common in terms of desk jobs. We're not as active as we used to be as human beings, etc. So those shoulders start to creep forwards. Okay, so in terms of the pelvis, optimally we want to train that from tilted here just to back underneath. We still want to keep a bit of lumbar curve, that's really important because that's the natural curvature of the spine. But in order to do that, we need to switch on the core, because that brings that pelvis back under. We also need the glutes to work as well. So the abs and the glutes bringing that pelvis back underneath you. Really important. We're not going to try and put it back into the exact anatomical position because we're moving functional human beings. So it's not like we're going to start working like a robot, but we just want to train those muscles just so that that's in a more comfortable position for us in terms of pelvic floor instability, core instability, sciatica, lower back pain, transferring up into upper back pain as those shoulders start to come forward. So training to put the pelvis back underneath you and in the right position is really important after childbirth. If you've got any questions, please feel free to get in touch with me via any of the social media, Instagram or Facebook, or give me a call or send me an email, and I'd be really happy to talk it through with you. Or attend one of my classes, which will be coming up very soon, so keep your eyes open for that. But thanks very much for listening, and I will see you very soon.